Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. Today is a beautiful, bright afternoon, and we are absolutely thrilled to sit down and share some deep, thought-provoking reflections with all of you about our favorite residents of Port Charles. Having watched this beloved television program for more decades than I sometimes care to admit, I have seen generations of families grow, love, fight, and break apart right before my very eyes. As someone who is well over 60, I have developed a profound, enduring passion for the intricate tapestries of these characters' lives. I have witnessed the highest of highs and the most devastating of lows, but the current storyline surrounding Michael and his youngest daughter is pulling at my heartstrings in a way that feels uniquely tragic. It is a storyline fraught with manipulation, missed opportunities, and a father's quiet, desperate yearning, and I feel compelled to unpack every single layer of this heartbreaking situation with you today. Recently, we witnessed some incredibly poignant moments where Michael opened up and confided in Jacinda about a milestone that should have been filled with joyous celebration. He revealed that little Daisy celebrated her very first birthday off-screen back in June. When I heard this, my heart immediately sank for him. A child's first birthday is an irreplaceable, monumental occasion. It is a time of colorful balloons, messy smash cakes, wobbly first steps, and the infectious, innocent laughter of a baby who is just beginning to understand the world around them. Instead of being there to wipe the frosting from his daughter's face, Michael was left sitting in the shadows, miles away from the celebration. From what we have learned, this precious birthday gathering was attended by Sasha, Robert, and Holly. I can only imagine the warmth and love that filled whatever room they were in. Robert and Holly, with their rich, adventurous history, undoubtedly provided a wonderful, protective environment for Sasha and the baby. They surely showered Daisy with affection and gifts, creating beautiful memories for the little girl. Yet, the glaring absence of her father casts a long, sorrowful shadow over the entire event. While Michael expressed genuine relief and gladness that Daisy is safe, happy, and surrounded by people who care for her, the underlying agony in his voice was unmistakable. His heart is clearly aching, fractured by the overwhelming desire to truly know his youngest child and to be an active, daily presence in her rapidly changing life. This brings me to the absolute crux of the issue, and it is something that makes my blood boil as a dedicated, longtime viewer. The only reason Michael was not at that birthday party, the only reason Sasha and Daisy are not safely tucked away in their own home in Port Charles is because of the sinister, calculated machinations of Willow. I have watched many villains come and go in this town, from ruthless mobsters to cunning corporate saboteurs, but there is something uniquely insidious about a person who commits emotional violence while wearing the mask of an innocent saint. Willow orchestrated an incredibly cruel deception, systematically convincing Sasha that they were being hunted by a dangerous, unhinged stalker. Willow deliberately planted seeds of terror in a vulnerable mother's mind, exploiting Sasha's protective instincts to drive her and Daisy completely out of town. It was a masterclass in psychological manipulation, and it worked flawlessly. Sasha, believing she was doing the only responsible thing to keep her baby safe from this fabricated phantom menace, packed up and fled. The sheer audacity of Willow's actions is staggering. She played God with multiple lives, severing the sacred bond between a father and his infant daughter, all to serve her own selfish, controlling agenda. And the most frustrating part of this entire ordeal is that Michael has never been able to definitively prove that Willow is the architect of his misery. He suspects, and we, the loyal audience, know the absolute truth, but the smoking gun remains frustratingly out of reach. This is merely the latest chapter in a deeply unfortunate and exhausting trend where Willow consistently manages to escape the consequences of her terrible behavior. Over the years, I have grown increasingly weary of watching her play the perpetual victim, batting her eyelashes and speaking in soft, breathy tones while leaving a trail of emotional destruction in her wake. She always seems to find a way to justify her deceit, wrapping her toxic actions in a cloak of self-righteousness. It is a bitter pill to swallow, especially when we see the devastating toll it is taking on a good man who simply wants to be a father. Let us be perfectly clear about one thing. There is absolutely no real physical danger lurking in the shadows for Sasha and Daisy. The stalker was a complete fabrication, a ghost conjured by Willow's jealousy and need for control. Because of this undeniable fact, an enormous chorus of fans, myself included, are desperately clamoring for the writers to right this egregious wrong. We want the show to bring Sasha and Daisy back home to Port Charles, where they belong. The longer they stay away, the more precious, unrecoverable time Michael loses. Missing a first birthday is a tragedy in itself. But if this agonizing separation continues, Michael stands to miss the entirety of Daisy's toddler years. As anyone who has watched daytime television for as long as I have knows all too well, children in this universe possess a magical ability to age overnight. If the writers decide to utilize the classic soap opera rapid aging syndrome, Daisy could return as a rebellious teenager before Michael even has the chance to teach her how to ride a bicycle. The thought of him missing out on her entire childhood because of a jealous woman's lie is simply unacceptable. It is a narrative injustice that demands immediate rectification. Now, I must acknowledge that Michael is not completely cut off from his daughter's existence. He does receive occasional updates, photographs, and video clips from Sasha. I am sure he cherishes every single pixel of those digital messages, watching them repeatedly until the battery on his phone dies. But let us be brutally honest. Staring at a glowing screen is a hollow, agonizing substitute for the real thing. A photograph cannot capture the soft, powdery scent of a baby's skin. A video cannot replicate the warmth of a child falling asleep against your chest or the joyous weight of holding them in your arms. These digital breadcrumbs only serve to remind Michael of exactly what he is missing, amplifying his heartbreak with every notification that chimes on his device. If Michael were a deadbeat father, if he were a man who shirked his responsibilities or showed no interest in raising his offspring, I might view this situation differently. But the evidence of his character is written in the history of this show. We have all watched him evolve into an incredibly devoted, fiercely protective, and profoundly loving father to both Wiley and Amelia. He has moved mountains to ensure the safety and happiness of his children. He is engaged, he is present, and he possesses a deep, instinctive understanding of what it means to be a good parent. To deny a man with his stellar track record the opportunity to parent his youngest child is a cruel twist of fate that he absolutely does not deserve. When the situation first arose, Michael made a remarkably mature and selfless compromise. He agreed to let Sasha take the primary lead in raising Daisy on her own, understanding the complex dynamics at play. However, that agreement was always predicated on the foundational belief that he would still get to know his daughter. He envisioned a life where they would remain in close proximity, allowing him to be a consistent, supportive, and loving figure in Daisy's everyday life. He wanted her near him in town, where he could drop by with gifts, take her to the park, and watch her grow. Willow took that fragile, hopeful compromise and smashed it into a million irreparable pieces, forcing Michael to endure a prolonged, agonizing separation that he never agreed to. We must hold on to the hope that the tides are going to turn, and turn soon. Michael fundamentally deserves a prominent, unshakable place in Daisy's life, and the audience deserves the satisfaction of watching him claim it. I know there are practical, real-world considerations at play here. We are all aware that Sofia, the immensely talented actress who has brought Sasha to life with such grace and fire, has recently accepted a wonderful new role on another daytime drama. I wish her nothing but the absolute best in her new endeavor, as she has provided us with years of stellar entertainment. However, her departure should not mean the end of Sasha's story, nor should it mean the permanent exile of little Daisy. Recasting is a time-honored, essential tradition in the world of daytime television. Over the past 50 years, I have seen countless iconic characters seamlessly transition from one talented performer to another. The role of Sasha is far too vital, her connections to the canvas far too deep, for the character to simply vanish into the off-screen ether. The producers can, and absolutely must, find a new actress to step into those shoes. Bringing a new face to the role could inject a fresh, unpredictable energy into the storyline, setting the stage for a dramatic, triumphant return to town. The narrative demands that Sasha and Daisy come back, because their return is the catalyst for the explosive reckoning that has been brewing for months. This brings me to the most thrilling, highly anticipated aspect of this entire saga. What happens when the truth finally comes out? What happens when Sasha returns and realizes that she was chased out of her home by a phantom threat constructed entirely by Willow? How will Michael react when he finally uncovers the undeniable, concrete proof that the woman he trusted is the very same woman who robbed him of his daughter's first birthday? Will he be able to look at Willow the same way ever again? Will he ever be able to forgive her for stealing the most precious, irreplaceable months of his child's life? I firmly believe that the answer to those questions is a resounding, definitive no. When the curtain is finally pulled back on Willow's deception, we are going to witness an absolute explosion of biblical proportions. Michael is a patient man, but he is also a man who fiercely protects his blood. The realization that he has been manipulated and deprived of his fatherhood will ignite a righteous fury within him. This is not going to be a simple disagreement or a tearful misunderstanding resolved over a cup of coffee. This is going to be an all-out, scorched earth war between Michael and Willow, a battle that will inevitably tear families apart, force residents to choose sides, and shake the very foundation of their community. Are you as excited as I am for this impending storm? Can you feel the electric anticipation crackling in the air as we wait for the truth to be exposed? The tension is building with every passing episode, and I, for one, cannot wait to see the fireworks light up the sky over Port Charles. We are on the precipice of a storyline that promises deep emotional resonance, shocking betrayals, and the kind of high-stakes drama that keeps us passionately tuning in day after day, year after year. Until that glorious moment arrives, we will keep watching, keep hoping, and keep holding Willow accountable in our hearts. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to sharing more of these wonderful, dramatic journeys with you all very soon.